Sometimes the strongest revenge is doing nothing, till the truth speaks for you.
Do you believe in patience or confrontation?
Welcome to the channel Moral Storyland Official. For more meaningful stories, please like, share, and subscribe.
I used to think silence meant weakness. I believed that if you didn't fight back immediately, if you swallowed anger and walked away, you were letting people win. That belief kept me restless for years, but time taught me something different. Silence isn't surrender. Sometimes, it's preparation. This happened several years ago, back when I still believed that work was just work, that personal lives stayed personal, and that authority came with responsibility. I was wrong on all three counts. My boss was the kind of man people politely described as driven. The truth was uglier. He needed control the way some people need air. He controlled schedules, moods, promotions, and fear. He didn't just want obedience. He wanted to know he could break you if he felt like it. Everyone knew it. No one said it. He walked the production floor like a general inspecting troops. Conversations would die as he passed, not because he demanded silence, but because people learned that being noticed was dangerous. He smiled when people got nervous. He asked questions he already knew the answers to, just to watch you squirm. I kept my head down. I did my job well. I didn't gossip. I didn't compete. I believed invisibility was safety. Outside of work, I had something real, something human. I was in a long-distance relationship with a woman who worked at another office under the same company. Different state, different building, same system. We met during a joint project call and started talking afterward, at first about work, then about everything else. Late-night conversations, long weekends when we could manage them. We were careful, we were respectful, we were happy. I never talked about her at work, not because I was ashamed, but because my personal life didn't belong on the production floor. But nothing stayed private around my boss. I don't know how he found out. Maybe someone mentioned it casually. Maybe he overheard something, or maybe he was just bored and digging for leverage. One day, during a meeting, he leaned back in his chair and said, almost casually, "So I hear you're seeing someone in the southern office." The room felt smaller instantly. I nodded yes. He smiled, not warm, not friendly, curious, like he'd just spotted a crack in the wall long distance. He asked yes. He chuckled. Those usually don't last. A few people laughed, not because it was funny, but because silence felt risky. I smiled politely. Inside, something tightened. I didn't know why yet, but I felt it the way animals sense a storm before the sky changes. That was the moment my relationship stopped being mine. My boss was married. Everyone knew that too. His wife worked for the same company, though in another department. She was quiet, professional, and completely different from him. Blonde, composed, serious about her work. And everyone also knew he cheated. He didn't hide it. He enjoyed it. He flirted openly. He traveled often. He came back from trips, energized, confident, and smug. He liked attention. He liked stories without details. He liked letting people imagine what he'd been doing. What I didn't know at the time, what I would learn later, was that he liked proof. He liked keeping trophies. The company announced that he'd be traveling to the office where my girlfriend worked. The moment I heard it, my stomach dropped. I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself he was unfaithful, sure, but not stupid, not reckless enough to cross that line. I was wrong. When he came back, something about him had changed. He was quieter, watchful, satisfied in a way that made my skin crawl. 2 days later, my phone rang during lunch. It was her. She was crying so hard she could barely speak. "They fired me," she said. I remember sitting down because my legs gave out. The noise of the cafeteria faded into a dull hum. "What?" I asked. "Why?" They said I violated company policy, that I was unprofessional, that there were complaints. Complaints I didn't ask from who I already knew. She told me what happened between sobs, how he'd called her into a meeting alone, how he'd complimented her work, then her appearance, how he'd crossed lines carefully, step by step, as if daring her to stop him, how he'd implied things he never said outright, and how she'd shut him down firmly, clearly, without embarrassment. He smiled. She said nothing, ended the meeting. 2 weeks later, she was gone. I went to my boss's office the next day, not angry, not loud, just asking for an explanation. He listened patiently, nodding as if he cared. Then he leaned forward and said, "You should be careful about who you associate with. Some people ruin themselves." That was it. No denial, no apology, just a warning. I walked out knowing something fundamental had broken inside me, not rage, something colder, something steadier. I stopped believing that confronting him would fix anything. Men like him don't lose arguments, they rewrite them. So I waited. Years passed. My girlfriend struggled, found new work, rebuilt herself piece by piece. I stayed with her. We talked about what happened only when we needed to, not because we forgot, but because we refused to let it own us. At work, I watched how my boss locked his office every night, how careful he was with his briefcase, how he never brought certain things home. I watched him joke about his wife without ever mentioning her by name. I watched him grow more careless with time, more confident that he was untouchable. Patience isn't passive, it's observation without emotion. The opportunity came on a Saturday. I was working overtime. The building was nearly empty. The cleaning crew moved quietly through the halls, unlocking offices, emptying trash, wiping surfaces. When they unlocked his office, I didn't move immediately. I waited. I pretended to measure drawings spread across a nearby table. When the cleaning lady finished and told me to close the door when I was done, she walked away toward accounting. I closed the door. My heart wasn't racing. My hands didn't shake. This wasn't impulse. This was inevitability. I opened his desk slowly, methodically. Top drawer, nothing. Second drawer, files. Third drawer, locked. I used the key he kept taped beneath the desk. He always assumed people wouldn't look that closely. At the back of the drawer, beneath folders, was a stack of photographs about 4 inches tall. I didn't need to flip through many to understand what I was holding him. Different women, different locations, always his face visible. The women all had dark or red hair. His wife was blonde. I took them all. I didn't rush. I didn't panic. I put them into a folder, returned the drawer exactly as I found it, locked it, and left. Then I waited again. When he went on his next trip, I took a long lunch. I selected a dozen photographs, enough to tell a story, not enough to overwhelm. Clear, undeniable. I drove to the town where he lived, not the post office closest to work, the one closest to his house. No return address, no note. Just the truth folded neatly. I mailed them to his wife. Then I went back to work. I didn't watch the fallout immediately. I didn't need to. Truth has momentum. Weeks later, the energy shifted. He stopped smiling. He stopped strutting. He missed meetings. He snapped at people without humor. Eventually, he stopped coming in at all. His wife divorced him. Her lawyer didn't play nice. He lost money, status, reputation. People stopped returning his calls. The production floor got quieter, not with fear but relief. Years later, my girlfriend became my wife. We aren't angry anymore. Not because what happened didn't matter, but because it no longer owns us. Justice doesn't always come with noise. Sometimes it arrives in an envelope, without a name, carrying nothing but the truth. I didn't ruin his life. I let him live with the one he built.